European Union leaders have struck a deal to loan Ukraine almost $150 billion Canadian to help it meet its military and economic needs over the next 2 years. The agreement was achieved in the early hours today, following a marathon session of talks.
We all share one clear goal: a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. So we gathered with a clear objective: to address Ukraine's pressing financing needs for the next 2 years. And I'm very pleased to say we made it.
Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky had been pushing the meeting to dip into frozen Russian assets for the funds. But leaders decided against that after Belgium, where most of the assets are being held, demanded guarantees on shared liability. Zelensky is now looking to boost support from Poland. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin has been making his annual address today. That's Putin's year-end news conference. It's a traditional event that offers Russians the opportunity to ask him questions. And as in previous years, Putin used the occasion to cement his power and air his views on domestic and global affairs. The CBC's Crystal Gumansing was watching Putin's news conference. She has more on it from London.
Russian President Vladimir Putin took questions for roughly 5.5 hours, covering topics ranging from birth rates — Putin wants to see families having more babies and at a younger age — to the war in Ukraine. Putin says he doesn't think Ukraine is ready for peace, but that Russia is willing to end the war if the root causes for the full-scale invasion are addressed. He also talked about the attempt by European leaders to access frozen Russian assets held in European banks. He said that had they gone through with it, it would have been robbery and there would have been severe consequences for the robbers. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said that the plan was both legally sound and technically feasible. In the end, EU leaders chose not to access those funds held mostly in Belgium, but to borrow against the EU budget, providing Ukraine with the promised 90 billion euros, which works out to about roughly 145 billion Canadian dollars.
The member states have agreed to finance the Ukraine through EU borrowing on the capital markets for an amount of 90 billion euros for the next 2 years. We will do this by way of enhanced cooperation that is backed by the EU budget headroom and based on an unanimous agreement to amend the MFF.
Ukraine desperately needs the money to cover its bills, including wages for its soldiers. In Poland today, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the money will strengthen its resilience, that Europe is united, and showed strength. Yesterday, Zelensky said the use of Russian frozen assets was not only moral, but just. EU leaders did not rule out giving those funds to Ukraine in the future. Von der Leyen said they started to mobilize towards that, and that sends a clear message. Crystal Gumansing, CBC News, London.